Okay, so this is one of those videos where I feel like I've had to record the intro over a dozen times already. Regardless though, welcome to my channel if you're new. So in this video I'm going to be going over a little bit of a story for you guys to give my thoughts on being self-conscious and how to stop caring about other people's opinions and ultimately just be yourself. Well, okay, I actually don't want to say be yourself. If you want to get a little bit philosophical here, I really don't think the concept of a self exists. Essentially, everything outside of, I guess, your awareness, your subconscious, whatever your belief are, however you want to dub that, as an external factor, your thoughts, your mind, your clothing, your physical appearance, all of that is an external factor, and at the end of the day, you have the choice of being whoever you want to be in this world, and at all times you can change that. Now, back to what I was saying though, essentially, I used to be very self-conscious actually. I grew up in a party-like environment with my family, and I was surrounded by older people growing up, and looking back at it, I think that's what gained a lot of maturity, honestly, growing up, because I actually prefer talking and interacting with older people, socializing with them, rather than a lot of people my age, besides a bunch of close friends I have. But I mean, outside of that, the maturity kind of came from just being surrounded by all of those people growing up. And regardless of that though, I was always the younger one. So even though I enjoyed it, I was super self-conscious and thought like nobody would want to hang out with me because of my age. Nobody would really respect my opinion or like take me seriously at all. And yeah, that was kind of like true to like a certain extent, which I understood now, being, you know, why I would think that, being at such like a younger age. But now it's like, okay, yeah, I definitely wouldn't trust, you know, my younger self at that age, like 18, you know, 16, 17 versus how I would like now. And you kind of just have to stop, like, you know, really caring about any of that. I know it's way more difficult than it sounds, but to me it kind of like just clicked. I think when I turned like 21, because I was kind of surrounded by like this pressure of like a lot of older people around my life, and I was always way more ambitious than like a lot of people I kind of did surround myself with. But what made it click for me specifically, because from the age of like 19 over like to when I barely turned 21, I did work at a brewery, so I was surrounded by a lot of people drinking and whatnot, and I was kind of excluded from a lot of that, obviously, because people like to drink. But with that being said, it did really click after I turned 21 and realized nothing really mattered and kind of like separated me from like anything. I guess I had a little bit of a unique perspective on it, or a unique like problem compared to most people. But once it did click, I was like, oh, you know, everybody is the same. Like, what? Doesn't really matter who you are. Like, if you're 25, 30, 40, you know, you probably feel a lot younger on the inside than you do on the outside. And everybody of any age is really into anything. And I think that's probably like the best advice I could like offer to anybody who really does care about people's opinions and is kind of like a little bit awkward and, you know, shy on the inside. Just open yourself up in any way possible and just like face the fear that like somebody might not like you, and that ultimately you are you and you're going to attract good people if you just continue expressing yourself and just not being you, but being the person you want to be. I mean, who cares, you know? I've made some pretty stupid first impressions. Like, one of my a good friend of mine, I met him at a party once, right? And I remember like months later we're asking each other like, hey, what was your first impression of each other when we all first met? And he literally said, wow, Peter, that guy, he talks way too much. And that was my the first impression I made, because I do have a tendency of doing that when I'm drunk, actually. You guys probably can probably tell that. But yeah, though, ultimately, like, it really doesn't matter what other people think, because if you're going to rely on that and shape yourself and shape your life in that way, then you're not living life for yourself, you're living life for other people. And that's honestly kind of sad if you think about it at the end of the day, because it's your life, you know, nobody else really like matters besides you for your importance, for your health, for anything really. You know, you have to put yourself first. And yeah, so once it all like did click for me, I kind of just, you know, was like, oh, nothing really does matter. You know, the more outgoing I am with my activities, my interest, whatever I want to talk about, you know, my hobbies, I felt like I became way more interesting on the outside, naturally doing that. And you find a lot of cool people do that way as well, when you're way more expressive and you kind of just stop caring about it. Like, I don't really care. One second I'll bring up anime, the next second, you know, I could bring up like drawing, like stocks, crypto, anything I'm interested in, and it really makes you you, and you are unique at the end of the day, because nobody else is you. So rock it. Why not? You know, be who you want to be at the end of the day. And yeah, like, I really don't enjoy interacting with like most people my age, actually. For those reasons, it's kind of like there's just like a huge lack of maturity and like direction and whatnot. And I mean, I'm not saying people figure this stuff out like really soon or at a later age. It's kind of just, oh, you know, everyone's still figuring it out at the end of the day. Even if you think you know what you're doing, you have like a huge plan, there's always going to be setbacks with it. Yeah, growing up, super self-conscious, and once it all kind of clicked, I was like, oh wow, you know, it's great. Like, I enjoy seeking out new people, and that's like one of my favorite things to do, you know. Like, I love just like meeting new people and just sparking up conversation and just getting different perspectives on life and whatnot. And if you feel like you're really shy and you can't just like open up, even though you've stopped kind of caring about like other people's opinions, you kind of just have to go out there and face the fear of rejection and just say screw it, because that anxiety that does build up. I never really had much anxiety, mind you. I just kind of cared about what other people think, which wasn't like heavy. I don't really feel much physical anxiety. Of course, we all get nervous and whatnot, but I'm not really stuck too much in my head unless I am forcing myself to be. Like, if you don't understand what I mean by that, like if I literally am not doing anything all day long to the point where like all I can do is really think and just like sit to myself, yeah, I'm gonna get stuck in my head. I mean, when all you can do is like think to yourself and you're not really practicing mindfulness, and you'll get stuck in your head. But I didn't really face that problem for the most part growing up. It was just the fact that like my age kind of separated me from everyone else, and I cared a lot about that. So I actually looked forward to growing up a lot when I was younger. It was like, man, I can't wait to be this age, man, I can't wait to be this age. And now that I am finally, you know, older in the ages that I wish I was when I was younger, I definitely don't regret it. I actually think it's great. But I definitely felt like a lot of that energy I was focusing for that should have been focused on other things. Because just live life while you can, you know? You're just, when you're young, there's nothing really serious going on, nothing really much to worry about, you know? I feel like I got really sidetracked in this video though. A lot of people don't really care about you or your opinions. Like, if you're gonna think about the one social interaction you had for the rest of your day, whatever it may be, I guarantee you the other person doesn't give two shits. They probably don't even care at all. And then you're just pretty much putting that energy out there in a really like self-conscious and defensive way. And getting over all of this stuff does take practice. Like I said, for me, I had a really unique, just, I guess, problem in terms of why I was self-conscious, that it kind of just alleviated itself once the idea clicked to me that everybody is the same at any age and nothing really matters. And I just started doing my own thing. I guess part of like that is really just discovering who you are and turning into the person you want to be every single day. That'll inherently make you a way more interesting person than you think. And there's many ways you can like tackle it, but literally just to get rid of some of these negative emotions and anxiety, you do kind of just have to go out there and force yourself in really awkward situations. Because I actually used to think I was super awkward myself too. And I probably was, looking back at it. I literally had like this moment that's like an iconic moment between me and one of my best friends from high school, where I went up to this girl at this school bonfire, and she was wearing Galaxy yoga pants at the time. And then I was dared to go up and say, hey, your ass is out of this world. And guess what? That's what I did. And then when I did do that, she was just like, oh, ha 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 ha, you know, all lovey-dovey like that, right? And then me, you know, me awkwardly being like, and then just, you know, walking away. You know, that was a golden opportunity where I could have probably sparked something and gotten the girl's number. It would have been great. My confidence didn't really exist at all in school though. Now, not that I really care out too much, but it's a funny moment looking back at it now. It's like, if I made that joke, yeah, it's like, you know, you bet like I'm gonna try to turn that into more, but it really, like, if you're gonna hold yourself back, like, let's say in that situation, the fact that I even like did that back then was kind of shocking, but if you just like push yourself like back, you know, fearing that opinion or that like rejection, it's only going to bite you, and nothing is gonna come out of it, and you're just gonna be stuck, you know, in your head. And not, like I said, nothing's gonna come out of it. So who cares, you know? Like, you have to force yourself in like really like, you know, awkward situations. And I didn't really give myself enough respect and recognition for how much I would have appreciated like all those mess ups I did when I was younger and like those awkward phases I had, because now it's like, you know, okay, I have the experience and I'm way more skilled in socializing and, you know, just being outgoing and like being myself, that now it's great. I appreciate those moments. And it's what you need to do. Just practice, practice mindfulness, practice just, improving your life, practice giving yourself meaning and something to hope for, and then just be who you want to be at the end of the day. I feel like that's the best way to solve like being self-conscious. I mean, when I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't have many views and I was actually kind of scared to like share it. And then my dad made like a Facebook post saying, hey, look at the videos my son is making, right? And when he did that, I was like, oh my goodness. And like I just felt really like shy about sharing my YouTube channel. Now it's like I really just don't really care at all. I think it's great. I love, it's a passion of mine. I love just showing people the videos I make and saying, hey, this is something I do. And part of that did come from like a lot of support, because I felt really just like vulnerable, I guess, when that was shared, and when new people that I personally know like discover like my channel. I'm like, oh crap, no. And then later on, all they did was get support, and I was like, oh crap, this is cool, this is interesting, this is awesome. And find your drive, yeah, like I said earlier, this video kind of just went in many different directions. So I guess I'm gonna end it off by saying, if you want to stop being self-conscious and that's something you struggle with, you need to get out there and put yourself in any really awkward bad scenario and just keep repeating it. Because if you have anxiety, unless it's a mental illness, which I am not very educated on, so I don't want to say anything that could be incorrect, and if I do, then please correct me in the comments. I believe it's your body's reaction from like a very primal state, because when we were like social beings, way back in like primal like eras and whatnot, society acceptance did matter. Whew, what a cough. Anyway, so society acceptance did matter, because it was kind of meant life or death. Because if there's just a group of like people and they just don't like you, then I mean you're kind of screwed at that point. So I believe that anxiety comes from that drive way back from a primitive perspective. So if you're gonna like, let's say, go out and ask a girl or ask out a guy or whoever, and then you're like getting anxiety because you're like, oh crap, that's that primal like fear of rejection for your survival that's coming out. You need to kind of just put yourself in those situations back to back to back, and then that will pretty much like reassure your body and your mind that, oh, I have nothing to worry about, my life isn't at stake here. So it's really just experience, and then finding, I guess, the right idea that clicks in your head to why nothing really matters, about what other people think of you. And yeah, I guess that concludes the video. Hope you guys have a terrific day, and hope you guys have a terrific night. Like I said in the beginning of the video, or it might have been in one of my cut takes actually, regardless, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you hated it, leave a thumbs down and comment on how I'm just such a piece of shit. Alright, but otherwise though, subscribe if you want to see more. I'll be around, guys, and hope you all have a terrific night, day, morning, whatever. See ya!